So I recently bought some stock in movie theaters and AMC theaters, and I am a big proponent that I think, based on how things are going, I really think that the movie theaters are going to make a good comeback. And I'm hoping the same thing for Vegas. I'm hoping the same thing for travel and tourism. I'm hoping the same thing for Orlando. I want entertainment back big time, and I have been pushing for that for a while. And I'm looking right now at what the movie theaters are going to do because that's why I have money where my mouth is. I invested. Okay, I'm going to put money into AMC. Regal is where I go to, but they're a private stock, privately owned company, so I can't invest money in them. But I can invest in AMC because I do go to their theaters and I like what they do, and I hope they do really well. And now we're learning in July, all their theaters are going to be opening back up. California, the new plan is they're going to be able to open up to 25% capacity, and you'll have no more than 100 people inside a theater at any time. But at least we're getting somewhere. At least the theaters are going to get a chance to take off. And one of the first movies that's going to really get a good chance to make people go ahead and run back into the theaters. Well, first of all, I talked about Unhinged on a previous episode, just most recently. But now the next movie that comes up after that, which is what I really want to talk about, is Tenet. John David Washington, Denzel's son, action movie. Looks like something out of Inception, something out of, Source Code. I'm not sure what they're going to think of this, but it looks really cool. And they've been promoting this for over a year now. Like I remember seeing this, I think it was August, September last year. After the summer movies were done, Tenet was already getting promoted. This is a movie that we were all waiting for in the summer. It's gotten a lot of push, even though we've had a couple of months off. The push is coming back now. July 17th is the target. And here's what we got. Movie theaters testing the waters ahead of Tenet release. Film School Rejects has a story. And so we have cinemas are going to be reopening their doors with tiered strategies this month. Let's talk about it. So now movie theaters are allowed to reopen in many states last month, but many major chains like AMC and Regal decided to hold out for new Hollywood releases, which is what I was waiting for as well. I wasn't going to go back until I had that. Smaller chains and independent businesses trod lightly and many have opted for the drive-in option to maintain social distancing practices. And by the way, I think there was a movie called The Wretched that came out as a new release earlier this month, or last month, excuse me. And I'll tell you what, $1 million in just drive-thrus. So there's people still interested in going to new movies, and they don't want to go and see Last Days of American Crime, a really awesomely bad Netflix movie, which I also talked about in a previous video. So now, the makeshift driving experience offers something novel that attracts curiosity, but we are approaching the still standing release date of Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Theater owners are having to figure out a game plan to get butts in seats come July 17th. Cinemas could just reopen their doors that week and see what happens, but instead the common strategy appears to be slowly phase operations in order to warm up and prepare. So Cinemark, third largest cinema chain in the country, after AMC and Regal, they announced a 4-phase plan to get ready. They'll start with 5 theaters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area beginning June 19th because Texas is one of the earliest states that reopened. The following weekend, they'll reopen 1/3 of their locations, mostly in big cities. Next weekend will be July 4th, and they will do another third. So again, they're bulking out the amount of theaters that will open up. By July 10th, all 344 theaters will be opening at some capacity. Now, the company expects an allowance for at least 50% of seating by the time Tenet is released. That's enough for them to be profitable. And remember, they're going to have multiple showings of that movie because they won't have any other movies out yet to go ahead and promote. That and Unhinged and maybe some other movies that are already older that might get a chance to make a run. That's all we're going to have. So there's only going to be 2 movies out there. Unhinged will be on July 1st, and all these movie theaters will not be open yet. But, I mean, here's the thing. It looks like a lot of movie theaters will be open by July 4th weekend, so July 1st will get a chance. And at whatever capacity, Unhinged has a $30 million budget. Let's see what happens. With Tenet, same thing goes. Might be a bigger budget, but it's also July 4th weekend, and now we got a chance to really see something happen on this. Let's see what happens. Now, NCG Cinemas, a smaller theater chain, is opening a new location outside of Atlanta, Georgia, June 4th, and they're only revealing phase 1, a strict social distancing phase, operating at 30% seating capacity, and well laid out rules and practices. Each location will have apparently enough employees to handle the opening and closing of doors, as well as heavily cleaning self-serve drink dispensers and other services after every use. By the way, we're getting self-service. We're gonna get that back. I saw Wawa right next to my when I was driving around West Palm this weekend. I was able to get self-serve coffee. I love it. I missed it so much. Great coffee at Wawa. If you've never had it, I would recommend it. Now, NCG won't be ripping tickets and are encouraging cashless transactions through apps, which by the way, Regal, great app. AMC's got a great app. Easy to do it that way if you can. Some areas like arcades and party rooms, self-service items will be off limits and unavailable for a while to avoid there being more for patrons to touch. Employees will have masks on, constantly replace gloves, may be required to have temperature readings, and will make statements allowing their good health ahead of shifts. And concession stand employees will stand behind plexiglass guards. So what the theaters are showing at the NCG Brookhaven, it's going to open up on June 4th. It will have the following: Wonder Woman, the original, Sonic the Hedgehog, which was available back in February, Jumanji: The Next Level, which was made available back in December of last year, remember? I Still Believe, which I think was a recent movie that got pushed out. Most are late 2019, 2020 releases. And again, Wonder Woman's 3 years old. Joining on June 5th will be the music-based reincarnation drama Mighty Oak. And then you have other movies that have already made showings called The High Note and Trolls World Tour. Let's go and talk about what they actually have coming up as well. Oh, actually, we'll talk about the full release schedule for the blockbuster movie season. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, back to this. Variety reported that 348, including 169 drive-ins, are open now, and others that plan to reopen soon. They've been playing older titles. They've been playing some classics. They had Jaws, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Goonies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Twister. I think I've seen all those in the theater except for Twister. I didn't see that. I saw on cable. And there is a cinema very close that he's saying that also is reopened, putting both auditorium and parking lot drive-in shows, the variety of movies. So anyway, they're talking more about some of the movies they have available. So how the theaters will woo us back. Here's another part. So theaters don't have a lot to offer the general public as a necessary or even desirable place to spend their time and money. Everybody's been stuck at home, though. The promise of something beyond what's available to watch, and big movies could be it. So just the appeal of the movies going to go see them could be the reason where everybody will go out. So to make it a better value for those who make the trip out, there are a lot of independents and chains that are selling tickets at reduced prices. Discounts will be a short time. NCG's advertising $5 tickets. Cinemark has $5 adult, $3 adult child tickets for its first month back. No upcharges for large format shows. And specifically, Cinemark names Tenet's opening as the time when tickets will go back to their normal pre-shutdown rates. And that's because Tenet needs to go and make its money. That's a big movie, so they got to be able to make their money back. So the movies that are coming up, Quartz has talked about, and here's what we got so far.